if any one of you can see something in your head that you want, and you can do it repeatedly, you tap into higher dimension. You tap into beyond the 3D world. You tap into that world where physicists are confused or they're baffled. They don't even know what it's called. They call it dark matter, dark energy. But you tap into a 96% invisible world that brings it here. So the question is, well, how do you know this, man? Can you prove it? Yeah, I can prove it, because when I did it, visualize it, it became my mirror, it became my reality. Can that happen? How can a guy sit down every night and fall asleep and think about what he wants, and some of those stuff actually come out to a T? They play out the exact same way in my 3D. So what I discovered was, I started to think about it. I started to theorize, and I had a theory, and I said, so this 3D world is like, I compare it to fire. So this is where the aha moment went off for me. So whenever you light a fire emits what? Smoke, right? That's how you know it's a fire. So when I started saying, I said, okay, so actual reality is leaking from that hidden world into this world. That's why I see all these physical stuff. So the real world is the hidden world. So what I'm seeing right now is the leakage from that hidden world into this world. So I'm just tapping into it, because when I visualize something, it's not in this world. I mean, if you know how your mind works, when you close your eyes and you visualize something, you're not in a three-dimensional world anymore. Whenever you're in a mental image, you're not in a world where space or time is affected, because again, if you think about it, people may not know this, when you're dreaming or when you're in a dream, time doesn't exist. You can't see time in a dream. You never see the clock. You never see like what, you never feel time in a dream. That's because your subconscious mind doesn't operate in this 3D world with what we call linear time. It's very important for you to get that. What you want is already there, but you just can't see it. I'm going to put it in your head till you get it, because you need to know this. That all the rocks, the land, the sea, the air, the planets, the stars, the galaxies, everything that you see is 4%. 96% of the real world is hidden from your senses. Hear this now. There's 96% of the real world or real reality is there, but it's something that your senses cannot interact with. When I mean senses, I'm talking about physical senses, 5 senses: smell, touch, taste, hear, touch, feel. You cannot interact, but nevertheless, it is there. And we know it's there because we see evidence of how it's pulling the stars apart, it's rotating, and physicists and scientists, they can't even figure out like what the heck's going on. They don't even know what the force is. And in our world, we have light. Light is what we primarily use. It's called photon. It's a particle. It's part of the 4%. That light does not interact with that reality. So that tells you that got to be some exotic type of matter or some new type of energy. And has anyone ever thought that energy, that new matter, might just be our consciousness? That's my theory on it. I believe the 96% of the hidden reality is a force of our consciousness. And the reason you can't, because you cannot measure consciousness. You cannot measure awareness. And the reason I say that is because whenever I visualize something in my mind's eye, you cannot measure a visual aspect in your brain in real time. And the reason you can't measure it is very simple. Is because it has no time variance there. Time cannot exist. In order for us to do stuff, what we call empirical evidence in our physical world, we have to incorporate time, we have to incorporate motion, we have to incorporate all the 4 fundamental forces that govern our universe, which is a strong nuclear force, weak nuclear force, electromagnetic force, and gravity. Those are the 4 forces that holds our world together. But those are just a tiny fraction. There's other forces that haven't been discovered and you don't know yet. And the reason I'm putting this to you guys, because I want you guys to see a bigger picture and to understand that just because what people tell you and you see and you think you can't do not listen to them. You gotta trust your own self and do your own thing. Because when I visualize every night, man, the things that I visualize, they come to pass. That's what I want to get here. That's higher dimension. Everyone should master the art, because it's an art. Visualization is an art. because it takes time to practice, because some people have just been turned off from it and they don't even know what it is. They don't even, the fact is though, people do visualize, but they do it unconsciously and they do it the wrong way. You know what they do? They visualize all the bad stuff happening to them. Like, man, they always see the worst. We always see the worst. And that's why the worst tends to manifest, because our brains have inherently fused to manifest bad stuff more than good stuff. You can learn that through what's called epigenetics. So if you're someone that's watching this live right now, and you may be wondering, like, okay, why am I not getting my desires or manifesting? This may be the reason why. Maybe you don't understand, or you haven't been awakened or alert that, you've been focusing on a 3D aspect of a world, which can't blame you, because that's what you're inherently is around. But there's this other world that is just comes from that world. So what I'm saying to you is, in the 5D world, you want to call it 5D or a higher dimensional world, reality is leaking from that world into this world. That's where the real reality is. That's where everything manifests first. Then it leaks into this world. That's where the fire is. And this is where the smoke. See the smoke? Fire is there and the smoke leaks into our reality. So you can say that real reality is in that invisible world. And then this is what we get as a physical world. And then if you want to get deeper aspect of it, it really says that you really do become what you think about.